Welcome to the Progress Zone podcast, where we help you create real momentum in your mindset, business, health, and life. I'm your host, Jody Donaldson, and every week we'll explore the small, intentional steps that lead to big, lasting growth. This isn't about hype, it's about habits. So let's get started. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Progress Zone podcast. Today's conversation is about something that impacts every area of your life, but doesn't always get your attention until something feels off. It's your health, not just fitness, not just how you look, but how your body is actually supporting or limiting how you show up every single day. Whether it's your energy, your focus, your performance. Today's conversation may be focused a lot on men's health, but a lot of what we're going to talk about, energy, recovery, performance, and taking ownership of your health, that applies to anyone. So whether this is something you've personally been working on, or you're supporting someone in your life, a spouse, a partner, family member that's going through the same thing. So there's going to be value here for you too. And honestly, understanding this can change how you support the people around you as well. You know, a lot of people, especially men, are doing a lot of things right. They're working hard, they're training, they're trying to stay disciplined, but over time, something starts to feel different. Their energy drops, their recovery slows down, and results don't match the effort anymore. And most people just assume, I guess that's part of getting older. But the question is it really? Or is there something deeper going on that's being overlooked? My guest today is Austin Blake. He's the general manager of GameDay Men's Health in Cary, and his work focuses on helping men better understand what's actually going on inside their body, especially as they get into their 30s, 40s, and beyond, and how to optimize their health for long-term performance. What I appreciate about this conversation is that it brings together two areas that don't always connect well: training and medical insight. And when those two align, the results can look very different. Austin, welcome to the Progress Zone.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Just thank you for taking the time to allow me to be here.
Well, I'm looking forward to this conversation, so we'll just dive right in. But for folks that have not met you before or don't know you, could you just talk a little bit about your background, what got you into this work, and kind of where you are today?
Yeah, so I grew up in Georgia, but my whole family's from the North Carolina area. I'm a born and raised Tar Heel fan, so sometimes around here it's a little sensitive. It's a lot of sensitive, a lot of state fans here, but grew up a Carolina fan. But then my parents went down to Georgia, so I'm a Bulldog too at heart. Nice. But then I was blessed enough to go play college football at Campbell University, where I was there for 5 years playing, and then I coached for a year, where I did my undergrad in healthcare management and then my master's in public health. Funny enough, I was a math and IT major my first 2 years of school. Love calculus.
Wow.
I don't know why. Just worked for me. I still use math, but not all that crazy math. But just through playing sports, we had a bunch of injuries. To keep a long story short, when I was in college, when I was playing, I tore my labrum, and I got diagnosed with a very rare disorder where my autoimmune system attacked my nerves, where I had to, during COVID, had to relearn how to walk and do a bunch of different treatment plans and a bunch of different stuff, to where pretty much came back, switched my whole major, because I really enjoyed talking to the nursing staff, the doctors, the techs, the therapists, everybody there, because they had such an impact on my health. And when I got back, I worked at UNC Rex. Shout out, a great guy there who I still talk to here to this day. And I was kind of asking him, why did you choose to get in this? And he was like, well, I didn't want to be a doctor or, a nurse, but it's like, I still want to be a part of the patient journey, but also the experience. And, being able to see men and women walk in these doors. And my thing that I always talk about is trying to help them have to try to have the best normal possible, because each person comes into a gym, comes into a chiropractic office, comes into any type of doctor's office, and what they've been experiencing is their normal. Well, how can us, after weeks, months, how can you come back and now your normal is even better than how it was previously? How can you walk in this door And if that's in the gym, hey, after 6 months, you've lost 10 pounds or your body's leaned up, you have more confidence walking out the door. That's us. You have higher hormone levels. You have lost weight. Maybe, you have been able to gain some muscle mass. Maybe also too, with erectile health, like you just feel more confident about yourself so that now you're a more confident husband, wife, son, daughter, whatever category that you fall in, you just have an overall better version of yourself. And that's kind of what made me fall in love with healthcare, is helping people be the best version of themselves. And then, was really drawing me to try to better people's lives.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. And I think it's so important. I mean, so many of us, we're trying to do all the right things, but there is that level of, hormonal impact that changes a lot of the stuff that we used to do in our 20s and 30s. That's not happening when we're 40, 50 and beyond, right? So it does make a difference. Well, let me ask you this. When you work with men coming into the clinic every day, and they're trying to improve their health, their energy, and their performance. From what you see and the folks you talk to, why do so many people wait until something feels off before they take action?
Yeah, I mean, there is a stereotype that men don't go to the doctor unless like their arm is like broken or something's completely wrong.
Right.
I would say women take a more proactive approach to their health, and also there's a lot of services through, especially for hormones for women as they go to menopause, to their gynecologist or OBGYN, they have those resources. While for men, we just assume that by getting older, being tired, that should just be normal.
Right.
So, for us, we try to take that approach to where, let's make this a normal conversation. Let's talk about your energy, talk about your recovery. Let's talk about how you're feeling. Also, let's do blood work. Let's see what else can be going on, and maybe try to change some lifestyle habits. Maybe trying to encourage you to, hey, go to the gym a little more often, or hey, let's talk about better dieting options, so that then not only will you live a longer life, but also a much fuller life, and just a fuller life in general, for you to walk out these doors and just be a better version of yourself. So making sure that we can change that stereotype. So making sure that men come to the doctor, because I jokingly call us a man cave doctor's office, because you walk in the door, it's not your normal, typical bland walls. We got, people come in, they can see sports, they can see, we're red and black, people can see a bunch of different colors that, make them hopefully feel more comfortable. Of course, people are still anxious, but how can we try to create a very calming environment so men and women can feel comfortable asking tough questions or even more sensitive questions. And that's hopefully for us to break the stereotype, so that men are more confident, so then they can take a more proactive approach, just like women do, to their health, just to live an overall better life.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important too. And I think, talking about why they wait so long, what do you think it usually is from the folks that you get to meet every day that actually gets them through the door? Like what pushes them over that edge where they know they don't feel great, they're uncomfortable talking about stuff, but they actually are like, all right, I'm here. I got here. Is it support from a spouse or partner or friend, or is it finally they just feel so miserable that they're like, hey, something's off and I need to figure this out?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for each person, they have a different experience.
Sure.
For some, it's definitely them talking to their spouse to where they are, they've been feeling a certain way. And of course, you're comfortable enough with your spouse and partner to have that open conversation of, hey, here's what I'm feeling. Here's what I'm experiencing. And there's, of course, people plug in a bunch of symptoms into Google or maybe ChatGPT to where they're like, I am chronically tired. I have a low libido. I have brain fog.
Yeah.
What's going on? Of course, hopefully Google's not like you're dying, but sometimes Google will say that. But it's like your hormone levels. Then also too, I think there's more awareness now about hormones compared to what was 10 years ago, to where, we have a bunch of men who come in to where they were like, yeah, I went to my primary doctor and I just asked to have that blood work put on, or, what, can I get a T-test done? And, they got it, they got those levels back and it was low, and maybe not low enough for their provider to do anything, but they were like, but I still feel like X, Y, I'm still tired. I still have low fatigue. I'm not sleeping well. My libido's low. So then of course they do a bunch of research, like, they'll type in hormone clinics, and we pop up, and of course they give us a call, and we're more than happy to talk to them about what they're experiencing and to see how we can get them the door. Then also too, we tremendously try to encourage our patients to talk to their friends. Of course, not walk up to someone randomly, be like, hey, have you ever thought about TRT? But but if we do a good job helping you, we want to make sure we can help everybody.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that everybody who walks into this door, they can get some answers, and then also to we make sure that we put them on a good plan that's specifically designed for them to go and achieve their dreams or their goals or kind of what they're looking for. So it's definitely a mixture of everything. It's spouse, is definitely friends, just because, of course, if you see we've had guys who come in to where they see their buddy at the gym and he's killing it. He is throwing up weight he hasn't done in years, and he's just full of energy. And of course, when you walk up like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to game day and I am just feeling my absolute best. And of course, it's like, well, which one do you go to? And it's like, well, I go to the one that's in Cary. It's right next to the Wake Mat Hospital, and it's like, hey, go in and ask for so-and-so, or, call in and say that you heard from me. Like, they would totally try to help you out. And so definitely friends. And then of course, for some guys, they've been doing for so many symptoms for so long, they just need help. Like, they're, sometimes for some men, we're like their last resort, quote unquote, to where, they've been dealing with this for too long. And it's, hey, I want to take a proactive approach to my life and change everything. So, we get different reasons why people come in, but mainly we're here to help, anybody and everybody, because of mental health, we help out men from the hormone perspective mainly. We see men and women for peptides and weight loss. We also do vitamins. So, we see both men and women for those things as well.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I think it's like you said, I think we have a lot more visibility to this and knowledge that's out there with, doctors that are talking about longevity and functional health and just, how to live the last few years of our life the best that we can, when that time comes for us, and still be functional, which I think is so important. And you mentioned it, but I think for folks that have never been into it, you kind of shared what it's like coming into the studio. Can you explain, you mentioned lab work. Is there someone a phlebotomist who's trained in to do that? Who actually are you seeing? Is it, tell me kind of like, pretend I'm walking in for the first time and share with me what it would be like.
Yeah. So each appointment's a little different time-wise, but if someone comes in, hey, I'm interested in hormone therapy, it lasts about an hour roughly. So you'll come in, you'll get your blood drawn, and we're able to get results within 15 to 20 minutes of them being here.
It's not like lab where it takes like a week or 4 days, 5 days.
No. So we get results back in probably on average like 20 minutes, right? So you'll come in, you'll get your blood drawn, we'll take it, spin it, and test it while that's going on. You're able to sit here in the lobby. You're able to get some water, get some snacks, watch a slideshow, or we have sports on. You can have that as well. Then also too, kind of the good news is that, hopefully prior to coming in, myself or one of my staff has talked to you on the phone about kind of what to expect.
Sure.
Like, hey, so you're gonna expect this. Like, hey, like you're gonna come in. We're gonna, check you in. We're gonna draw your blood. We're gonna sit down and talk with you because, we want to understand what's going on. What are some underlying things? And of course, if some things are like, hey, I want to ask the provider, that is totally okay. We just want to make sure that we can answer everything prior to you speaking with them. So then, get your blood work done, and then, then you'll sit down. And then once that blood work is done, our provider will come up. She'll have the results too. Then also too, we give you your results as well. So then you're able to go back, sit down with her, and then you'll go over your medical history, kind of go over, some underlying health conditions, if any are there, go over past medical history just to make sure, hey, is this a good fit for you? Is there anything that we should be aware of before starting? And then pretty much you'll go back, talk about your symptoms, talk about what you're looking for. And then we basically create a custom game plan for you for what we feel that also per the conversation that you're having could be the best fit for you. And then patients are able to start treatment same day of their consultation. So like if someone came in for hormones, they can get a shot same day of their consultation. It's great. Now, I mean, if they were to do the pill form, we would have to send to the pharmacy for it to come to their home, but that takes about 2 days. But that takes about 2 days. If they want to do a pellet, we could do it same day, but kind of depends on the schedule. But then we'll schedule that out. And then, but if it's weight loss or if it's a peptide or if it's, ED, we could start them maybe same day or just ship it to their home from the pharmacy. So it really cuts down on people having to come in and out so many different times because, of course, the thing is that everybody's busy. People got work, kids, stuff's going on. How can we make this as smooth and easy as possible so people can get back on trying to change their life as quickly as possible?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I think for, when they come in and I know everybody's different, right? So it's whatever reason they came in to see you initially, when they come in and they're feeling low energy or they're just struggling with recovery or not seeing the results that they used to, and they're doing the same thing and it's not working like it did. When you do that lab work, is it a typical lipid panel, testosterone, is it a standard blood draw that everybody would get so you can get a full baseline of everything? Or is it just depending on what they're concerned with?
Yeah. So the blood work that we test here, we test their total T. Okay. We test their PSA, which is the blood from a prostate, and we also check their H&H. So your H&H is testing the iron levels on how thick your blood is. And of course, the PSA, well, blood from a prostate just to make sure. And then also we test your total T. We do that here as like just a good baseline of like, these are the parameters that we need to get you started now. Now, the patient comes in and they're like, hey, I want to go forward and do this hormone therapy. We then take that same blood and we send it out and get a full comprehensive lab panel. So lipid panel, CMP, like TSH, like we get a full panel so that then when basically when that comes back in about 2 days, we can fully dive in like, okay, here's what we're seeing, here's what we're noticing. And then basically when a patient comes back in for their follow-up, we can talk to them like, hey, here's what we're seeing. Based upon this, I highly recommend that we do this, that we do this, that we do this. And that people just feel more proactive about their health, where it's like, wow, like I'm doing really well, or hey, we're noticing this. I would start recommending that you probably start doing X, Y, and Z in order to feel better. Now, if a patient comes in, they're like, I want the blood work sent out anyway, but I don't want to do anything. We can still send out. They just got to pay for it. We still can send that out, give it to them, make sure that they have a good idea for what's going on.
Okay. When they come in, I know that panel is going to give you guys a lot of information that's going to then be able to come up with like a plan or regimen that's going to support them. Is it, and I don't think, but tell me if this is right or wrong though, that it's not always hormone health, right? Like it could be other factors that play into some of these symptoms that they're having. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, there are times to where people come in and their hormone levels are totally fine, and they're still tired. So that's when it could be vitamins. That means it could be stuff with dieting, to where they have a lot of processed food. I mean, it makes anybody tired. So I mean, there's a bunch of other things that can be underlining to why someone is tired, or maybe, hey, I'm really struggling to lose weight. I mean, there's a bunch of other things that can be going on that maybe might not be hormone based. Just because someone doesn't, fall below our threshold to do hormones, we're not just going to put them on it just because we want money. There's no point for them. So let's talk about some other options that could be beneficial, or maybe there's some things that we can't help with. How can we try to point them in the right direction so that then they can be helped?
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think too, so they might not know what's going on. That panel gives you guys a great read of what's happening inside. And then, for the folks that are getting the treatments, what are you seeing as they start feeling better? Like when they come back, what are the things that you're hearing where they're like, oh, wow, I notice a difference? Like, what are some of those things?
There's a lot of guys that are like, the overarching thing is that I have energy to do this. It's like, I have energy to go out there with my kids. I actually want to go outside and spend time with my family. I like a bunch of, mentors like, hey, like I want to be able to go to my son's wedding or walk my daughter down the aisle. I want to, a lot of guys to where, they really had a lot of confidence issues. And then now they're just, they're starting to fill out a little bit better now, kind of how they were in their 20s. They're starting to fill out again, but really it's, more concentration at work to where people at work are like, wow, like I'm doing better at my job. I'm waking up with a sense of purpose. I actually feel like myself again. It's, there's a lot of things to where people see me acting different. And also too, I mean, because we all want to be noticed, and people are starting to notice them just because their whole mentality has changed. They have a new sense of living, and that's been a really beautiful thing to see. And also too, being able to be be an active member for your girlfriend or for your kids or partner, like, seeing them see you want to be active, I probably means the absolute world to them. So, being able to have those different results just because, we try to be a very practice staff. And I mean, we try to get to know everybody as best we possibly can and try to build that connection. So then when people walk back in here, it's not like, oh, I'm going for a doctor's appointment. It's like, people walk in the door, they're, work, oh my gosh, Mr. So-and-so, how are you doing today? And then it's like, oh my gosh, you can't believe what happened this weekend. He goes, oh, like what happened? I just got back from, just got back from Cancun from Cancun. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Like building that connection so that, people walk in and out of here just absolutely different and feeling better.
Well, and I love the fact that it's not always just the results in the gym they're seeing, that it's the stuff that's showing up outside of that, right? Like you said, their focus, their work, they're showing up better for their family and friends and coworkers. They have more energy, and they're realizing all they've been missing out on, right? And that's the one sad part about it, is that especially for the folks that have been dealing with it for so long, right? They finally make that effort come in, and then they're like, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? Right? Like, but I think to your point, that you mentioned earlier, I think, men, they wait till the last ultimate thing or until something's major broken down on them, and then they go get it done. But, something too that we talk about here, like on the podcast and in different areas, is, building something that's sustainable, right? Not just intensity, right? It's consistency over intensity all the time. When you think about men that are like in their mid 30s and beyond and are starting to notice it, what needs to shift in how they approach their training? Not just in the gym, but like just to maintain strength and mobility and long-term health.
Yeah.
From what you see.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of reasons as to why men's hormone levels go down that also just affects everything. It's lack of sleep, chronic stress, the food that we eat, there's a lot of things that go into just because the food that we eat, can affect our joints, can affect our ligaments, getting less sleep can, dramatically tries to affect the recovery, to where, for us, I mean, we always try to tell our patients, hey, be active. I'm an avid walker. I, did a bunch of back squatting for a lot of years, so I am not trying to do that really much anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm a, huge avid walker just because it is, of course it's, you can walk a mile and not even know that you burned 100 calories or you do, these small things. And also too, as you get older, my dad tells me all the time, heck, I, can't lift that much, but I would rather be flexible than be strong. Just because, just as you get older, ligaments get pulled a lot easier, things flex and kind of go wrong just a lot easier. So just being proactive on trying to stay active as much as you can. Stretching doesn't have to be, like, hey, let me go do A skips, B skips, like let me do anything crazy, but it's, hey, you know what, like let me, try to stretch out just to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence. And then also it's always hydrating, trying to make sure we have enough water in our body and that we're putting in the right foods into our system to fuel us, to make sure that we can go outside and really just feel our best. Just because, I love Burger King. It's my favorite fast food burger out there. But after every time that I eat it, I feel so terrible afterward, even though it tastes amazing while I'm eating it.
Right.
We always say like, gosh, like I probably shouldn't have had 5 beers today. Or man, I shouldn't have had that burger because I feel like crap. Well, of course, if you feed your body with stuff that might not be the best. You're going to feel that way. So how can we fuel our bodies with the right stuff so that then we can go to the gym and see those results there too? Just because, as people want to lose weight, I mean, diet is a huge part of it. And then, of course, making sure you're doing the proper lifting and the proper stuff for your body. You put those two things together with a good diet and a good workout plan, you will see great results anyway, just because by getting good sleep, by eating better, and by trying to reduce as much stress you can slightly try to increase your T levels that way.
Yeah.
Now, if your levels come in at 300, you probably won't get to 1,000.
Yeah.
But you might be able to get it up to about 400, 450 more naturally that way, and maybe feel a little bit better.
Yeah. And I think, not everybody might be familiar with like hormone replacement therapy and how that works. And I think there's a ton of information out there on the internet, probably some not good, some bad. There's, two sides of everything, and people question, is it right? Is it wrong? Are you on it forever? So I think for folks that you're seeing and the regimen that you're doing, is something like this, like a lifestyle change that's long-term, or is it something where if, someone's doing some hormone replacement, they get their levels up where they need to be, can you taper off? Like, how does that work for longevity piece of it as far as a treatment plan?
Yeah. I'll talk about kind of each different one. So, so usually for hormones, like usually once you start hormone therapy, you kind of stay on it.
Okay.
Just because the thing that hormone therapy does is that it's giving your body like what it's missing. It's trying to help, just because if you come in with levels of 300, we're trying to get, because GameDay, we try to optimize you between 800 and 1100.
Okay.
And that's for your total T. That's your total testosterone. Just because too, like your body naturally isn't making kind of how it was in your 20s. It's not doing that anymore. So we're adding to it to help your body get back up. So usually people, we've gone out to many events to where we've met people who've been on hormone therapy for 20 years, and they're, now they're in their 60s and they're like, I could not imagine my life without doing this.
Yeah.
Now like in terms of like peptides people usually do in cycles or do different times, right? So like if someone hurt their knee and they're looking for a recovery peptide, you might do it for a month, 2 months. That's it. You don't got to be on it for a year. That's usually what it is. If someone is trying to like build muscle, you might do that peptide for about 2 to 3 months, just depending on what it is. Or some people might do it for 6 months. However, you don't do it for anything longer than that at a given time, just because, doing a prolonged stint of that could cause some other worser problems down the line that way. So, so we have a proper cycle for what people stay on, just to make sure that they're doing their due diligence. Weight loss, people can be on weight loss as long as they want to. There's many people who do like once they kind of lose their weight, they really like trying to eliminate the hunger noise. Mm-hmm. So then they might do a really small maintenance dose just for themselves. But hopefully by doing it, we have created and taught them about building healthy eating habits while also trying to be active in the gym, to where then they don't need anymore. They know what their body needs, what they're, hey, like if I for breakfast have 3 eggs, a piece of toast and a yogurt, perfect. That is what you eat, and you feel fantastic, and you get all the proper nutrients. And then, for people who do like ED, usually people will do treatments for probably about 2 months, and then from there, people will come in periodically throughout the year just to make sure that we're still helping out with blood flow, and that just in case they need anything. But usually hormone therapy, you stay on for just as long as you want to and as long as you feel like being on it. But that's definitely the longest one. And of course, with each one, it's, different cycles for what you might need.
Sure. And, to the individual, right? Whatever their specific needs are and how it works. And so just for clarification, just so I understand too, right? So when you talk weight loss, is it GLP-1s like your tirzepatide or, Wegovy or these brands? I don't know how it is. Is that the type of what we're talking about when we talk about weight loss?
Yes, we use the semaglutide and the tirzepatide.
Okay.
That's been a big one. And then also a growing peptide has been the the retatrutide. That's known as a GLP-3.
Yeah.
Peptides are popping up everywhere. I was at a thing here this morning, and someone was like, "Oh my gosh, like I got this ad about peptides." I mean, it it's definitely growing because with the GLP-1 medications, it takes both the fat and the muscle. Takes everything. So when someone loses 20 pounds, it's everything. Now with the GLP-3, it's not taking that muscle away. So people are starting to notice that they're able to lose weight while also keeping their muscle, which of course, we all want to be as strong, but also as lean as possible. So that's what people are starting to notice and really see a difference. But back to your statement, the weight loss we talk about is the GLP-1s, that's the tirzepatide and the semaglutide and the GLP-3 of the retatrutide.
So the retatrutide, is that something like, and I again, like you said, there's a lot of talk about peptides now I see, and it seems to be more and more. Also, you need to go someplace like GameDay to get the official ones and don't get them off the internet somewhere. Some of these guys, like you don't know what you're getting, and they're, sending the powder to you and you got to mix it with distilled water. And, don't be trying to be your own chemist, right? Like go someplace that's going to be able to set you up with the right protocol and the right peptide. But for the retatrutide, is that part of, like, can you get that regularly from your doctor as well? Or because peptides are a different category, right?
Yeah. So, there's certain peptides that we can get, and also there's some that we can't. Retatrutide, we can, so people can get them. There's certain peptides where it's like, hey, like right now it's not, we're not able for us to get them, but back to the thing to where, there's a lot of people who can get them there online. And kind of the problem with that is that, we do why we do the basic medical intake form, and why we, also do just like a basic CMP and lipid panel for weight loss or even peptides. It's just to understand what's going on, just because if you have a bunch of stuff that's out of whack, that medication could cause more problems than good. Yeah. So making sure that you are healthy and that everything's okay, just to make sure that, hey, by doing this medical weight loss, you're not going to have any problems. You're going to feel great. You're going to get the results that you need. And then also too, that people can come in here and, they can do their peptides, and they can sleep better. They can gain more muscle. They can do all of those proper things.
I think one that or a combination that I see a lot, and you can maybe speak to this just in your experience, but it's the BPC 157 and the TB 500, and they call it the Wolverine stack, right, for recovery. Yeah. Is that, is that real? Is that like one of the protocols that they use for recovery of injuries? And then the second piece of that is, are those injected in the areas where the injury occurred, or is it just like in your belly, like a GLP-1 or GLP-3?
Yeah. So usually for most of like your recovery peptides that people might do, you can inject it towards the site.
Okay.
So the reason why the Wolverine blend for a lot of people has blown up is because the BPC focuses on the area, the TB 500 focuses on the entire body. So that's why people liked it, just because it was like, I'm getting my entire body and that certain area, completely taken care of. Like, that's what's going on. So that's why, because not only am I feeling good for my shoulder, or, you can't exactly stick a needle like right in the knee, but you could probably do like right above. But people have just really seen a significant burst in recovery, and I've truly felt better. And for most of the other peptides, you usually do them in your stomach sub-Q. That it's just a very normal spot, kind of like the GLP-3s. But good is that they're a little small insulin needles, so nothing too big that you got to try to put in. It's a really small insulin needle.
Something you said too, I want to point out when you talk about weight loss drugs, I think this is a thing where a lot of people really don't understand that they are truly losing muscle mass during that time. And so strength training is such a key component of maintaining that mass and keeping it while they're on those GLP-1s. I think that, you hear sometimes that, it's important, but no, like it really is a factor that they need to consider if they are on it, doing some type of strength training, resistance training to keep that muscle mass and skeletal density, right? So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that is something that it might just be a disclaimer on the medicine, but it's so important.
Yeah. Because we always talk about high protein diets, making sure you're getting enough protein in your body, and also too going to your gym like Alloy, like going there, making sure that you're still pushing the limits to your body, but like by doing the proper like personal training or whatever gym that you're at, and then also partnering with doing a high protein diet, you're not going to have the same muscle loss as someone who's like, I'm just not eating anything, and now you're having 40 grams of protein, and then you're like, I'm losing everything. And it's like, well, that's why we try to sit down and educate you on hey, here's what you need to be doing to make sure that you can see the most significant results for what you're looking for.
Well, all of this is super information, and I really love it. And I think, a big theme of our show is kind of ownership, right? And taking responsibility instead of just assuming things are just happening to us and we have no control over it, right? And so I think when it comes to our health, I think, what would you say to someone who knows something isn't right, but hasn't taken that action yet? Like, what would be the first step? Just come see you guys, come do an assessment, get that lab work done. Like, what would be the first step just for someone that really just needs to make a change?
The first thing that I would say would be, now you think of like, what do you have to lose? But it's like, how much is enough for you to see what's going on? We try to make sure that we create a great environment to where people can get the answers that they're looking for. Just because, I'd rather someone come in, they get tested, they sit down with us and have a conversation, to then hear, hey, good news is that it's not your hormones. Good news is that it's not that. We have addressed all these other things. So now we know what else we can do. Then, to what you said earlier, you've waited 10 years and you come in and you're like, I should have done this 5 years ago.
Right.
It's really like, hey, take charge of your health. If you got to go talk to your primary doctor, go do that as well. I'm always for trying to work with, with other medical professionals to see how we can best try to have a continuous level of care for everybody. And, but it's a thing of, for guys like, hey, enough's enough. Time to not feel tired. It's time to be more focused. It's time to be really the best version of yourself. Because our goal here is, we always talk about trying to optimize your health, not that you come in and that, hey, you got a problem, just because that makes you probably feel bad. Like, wow, I've been having a problem forever. It's like, no, you're coming in here. Let's optimize. You have nothing wrong. Let's optimize your health. Let's take care of you and make sure that we're pushing you to be in the right direction for what can be the best way that when you walk out these doors, you are the overall better version of yourself and have a plan of attack for how we can get you where you want to go for your goals.
Let me ask you this. This is more kind of on a personal level, but when you step back and just look at this work that you're doing, what do you hope people actually change or take away from the meeting with you guys and experiencing and maybe taking control of their lives as a result?
When people walk out these doors, I hope that they had a good experience here. First and foremost, I hope that we answered as many questions as we could. I hope that myself and all my staff here, we were good resources to talk to, that hopefully that we were a comfortable environment for them to maybe open up about what's going on. But I hope that when someone walks out these doors, they have hopefully a newfound confidence in, hey, what's been going on is going to stop at some point, just because, in healthcare, I wish it was hey, you came in, it was fixed like that. I really wish it was, or, heck, I wish I went to the gym. I came out I did a workout and I had a 6-pack right after I was done. I wish I had that, but it's okay. By doing this, I'm going to start to feel this. And then hopefully by having a plan, there's a newfound internal confidence that, hey, what's been going on is going to change, and that, hey, like my life's going to be better. And of course, that's why we do blood work. It's why we do the things that we do, is that we have a proactive conversation here together. It's not, hey, you came in and it's, hey, let us just take your money and walk out the door. It's like, no, like, let's have a proactive approach that we work together to make sure that we go towards that goal that you're looking for. Just like how people come into the gym, the goal might be, what, my biggest dream is to bench 225 and I'm stuck at 205. Okay, hey, by doing this plan of 8 weeks of doing this workout plan, hey, like, after 8 weeks, what, my bench went from 205 to 215, and then you do another 8 weeks, and boom, within 4 months, you finally broke 20 pounds, and you're, great. Like, now I'm benching 225, or maybe your goal is to beat that mile pace, and you just get there by putting in the work each and every day, by having that open conversation with your doctor, trainer, whoever it might be, that you're able to see those results. So I hope that people walk out of here with a newfound confidence, and I'm about to take control of my life and be the best version of myself as possible.
Yeah, man, I love everything about that, and I so appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective. I think it is something that isn't talked about a lot. I do think we have a lot more momentum around it now, and a lot more that we're hearing. But for a long time, I think it was kind of like, I don't know, people weren't comfortable talking about it, or they didn't understand what was going on. And I think now we're educating people. We're saying, listen, you can be optimized. You can feel better. You don't have to feel this way all the time. And so I love what you guys are doing. I think you got a great shop over there. But again, man, I just really appreciate you coming on, sharing your perspective, because I think this is one of those conversations that a lot of people probably need to hear, but they don't always seek it out until something forces them to, or they get someone to help them find a way, right? And come see you. So I appreciate you bringing clarity to all of it, man.
Yeah. I think it's important to where, people, that they find, they find the right gym. I mean, why I love Alloy so much is that it's, it's designed for, for everybody to come here and feel more confident about themselves. Like from what I've seen, people can get very intense training. People can feel like they're being heard and understood for their needs. That people are able to, they're able to walk a door, hey, but you know what? That was for me. I felt taken care of. I was pushed. First and foremost, you want to be pushed to the gym. And as the people, you guys have done, you guys have done such a great job, and there's many people who can truly benefit from what you guys offer to everybody there. Not only to, also to physically feel better, but also to find that new confidence, try to find that new confidence about themselves. And that's what we, try to do here at GameDay is, to create a plan, try to attack that plan, but also listen to our patients for what they're wanting. Of course, not everything can be done all at once, but hey, how we bit by bit, day by day, get better so that then, in a month, 2 months, 3 months, or even, 6 months from now, people, they come in like, I found my right dose, or hey, I lost that weight, or hey, I reclaimed my sexual health, or hey, I was able to gain weight, or but pretty much just be a better version of themselves. And that's a very beautiful thing that hopefully that people see by coming into us and coming into Alloy, is that they're able to see, see those benefits, but really be a better version of themselves and have a new reclaimed and hopefully just a new outlook on life and how they personally view themselves.
Yeah, no, that's so important. And I think that is probably the most gratifying piece of the work that we do is, just seeing people change their lives and feel better and really be optimized. So, man, awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on and talking today and just sharing your perspective. I think this has been super helpful.
Yeah, no, and just thank you so much for your time and just allowing me to be on here. And what you guys do at Alloy is fantastic. And definitely, for everybody there to keep on watching more of your other clips of the Progress Zone. I think it's fantastic. All the knowledge and all the insight that you're giving everybody.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, man. And remember, progress isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, taking action, and getting just a little bit better every single day. So keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep making forward progress. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Progress Zone. Thanks for joining me in the Progress Zone. If today's episode gave you a spark, share it with a friend, subscribe, or leave a quick review. And remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. I'm Jody Donaldson, and I'll catch you next time inside the Progress Zone.